and welcome to On the Fly Television. My name is Dennis Gleason, and welcome to the show. We're out here at Laurelhurst Park in Portland on Saturday, August 30th, with a very special guest. I have Charmian Carr. Charmian, how you doing?
I'm fine, and you pronounced my name correctly. I thought for sure you're going to mess up.
Well, thank you. That's always a good sign, isn't it? So, I know who you are, and some of the viewers might, but if you could do me a favor and tell the audience who you are and why you're here in Laurelhurst Park today.
Well, I was in a film that a lot of people saw, and they saw it over and over again. It was called The Sound of Music, and I played Liesl, the oldest child, who sang 16 going on 17. And we're showing the film in the park this afternoon, and I am the special guest, and I am going to entertain the audience before the film.
Well, congratulations on having that. That's a huge movie to be in. Everyone has heard Sound of Music, and that's a good one to be into because, I mean, there's some people that, you know, even the more popular ones, they'll watch it a few times, but not everyone will. But I'm sure almost everyone has watched Sound of Music. You get a lot of people stopping you on the street?
I don't as much nowadays, but I used to all the time. What happens nowadays, people will look at me and they'll think they know me from high school or from something, but they're not really sure what it is.
Could they possibly know you from high school? Do you run in friends from high school a lot?
No, it's not from high school.
So now you're out here doing a presentation for the Portland Parks and Recreation Bureau. Do you do this type of thing quite often?
Well, I was doing it from the year 2000 to the year 2004 regularly, but I took some time off and I only do selected ones across the country. And of course, Portland is a special one to do.
Well, I'm sure that makes us very proud. Definitely. I mean, you're giving me some time. I appreciate that. And obviously the Portland Parks Bureau. We got a couple people over there off camera that are sitting there smiling and all grinning because they really appreciate you coming out here and doing that for us. So, well, it's going to be an interesting afternoon. I hear you're going to be talking to the Portland Teen Idols today. Is that right?
Absolutely, and I hope they're going to be singing for me.
I'm sure they probably will. If they're not already scheduled, I'm sure all you do is ask, and I'm sure they'll do it. Now, are you going to be doing some kind of question and answer session with them?
Yes, if they have a question, I'll have an answer.
Do you think it'll be the answer that they want to hear or the answer you want to give them?
Well, I'll probably have two answers. One answer that will be more interesting, but probably not true. And then I'll give them the true answer.
At least you're honest about wanting to lie. I do that once in a while, too. As long as the day's over with and you finally come clean, you're good. So what we do here on the Fly TV is it's a general talk show, pretty much like Jay Leno and stuff like that, where we talk about whatever is coming up. I don't like getting very political because typically speaking, some people have one angle or another. But what I would like to talk about is entertainment industry. You've been in it for quite some time. And can you give us a little bit of insight to some of the changes you've seen in the industry since you were originally in Sound of Music to where it is today?
Well, I have, and you know, you talked about Jay Leno, and I guess this is your green room, the grass.
Right.
So that's one big change. Another really big change is the entertainment business is really a business now. Sure. When I started, it was much more artistic. Big businesses didn't own the studios, and that's been the major difference.
So now this particular production we're doing, did you know it was through cable access and it was completely free for me and my staff and everyone else to come out here today and do this?
No, I didn't know that, but I'm impressed.
It's funny because one of the reasons for doing the show is to show anybody out there, first of all, that you can go out and get involved in television. Of course, I have no talent whatsoever, and I'm doing okay at it. So if you're interested, feel free to go online, check out your county resources, call your local television station, say, hey, are there any cable access stations nearby that I can talk to and maybe get involved in this? But you'd be surprised. Some of these stations around here, there's like 5 or 6 of them where you can just walk in there, and as long as you live in a county that the station's located in, you can get training for very little for free and then be out and have a camera that they've loaned to you, like the one right here, and be able to go out and run around and do stuff for free. And obviously this type of thing where normally would be no coverage at all or 30 seconds on the news, we have the opportunity to be able to have interviews with special individuals like yourself, the Portland Teen Idols, and the movies in the park, and get plenty of exposure for future events. Is that interesting to you?
I think it's wonderful. I think it's absolutely wonderful.
And what's really cool about it is, like, my staff members here and one of the idols is actually all high school students. they're not actually normal professionals that go out there and have a regular full-time job. They're high school students learning to get into television, and so they're volunteering their time to come out here. So that's something that probably wasn't around much when you were back in the Sound of Music days either, was there?
We had no cable. But I think that some of these students might actually be 16 going on 17.
Which ironically is correct. The one on the right side on your side there is actually in that case. And my son will be there not too long from now. So that's a really shameless plug, wasn't it? Charmian she doesn't play fair, does she? That's okay. We like it that way, don't we? So you said that things have changed a little bit about the fact that we're outside. Have you done very little outside stuff other than movies?
I'm trying to remember. I think the only outside Sound of Music sing-along that we do is at the Hollywood Bowl every other summer. All of the other events are in a theater. So it's great to be outside, and it's great to be in such a beautiful park.
And Portland Parks actually, or Portland, the city of Portland itself, has over 175 parks. A large number of parks. I mean, I don't know what the statistics are and how it measures up to the other different cities and major cities, but I'm got to be guessing it's probably the largest number.
I know. The answer is 3. Portland's 3rd.
Third of all the number of parks in the city.
Yeah, and unless Jeff Milkus, who is responsible for me being here today, who's with Portland Parks, has lied to me.
I'm sure he would never do that. Well, third, that's pretty big considering how many big cities there are out there. I mean, Portland's not number 1 as far as on list, and definitely not number 3 on population, but to have the 3rd largest number of parks, and I'm assuming that's actually the number of parks that are normally maintained. There are probably a lot more parks that aren't, because typically speaking, I mean, how many little tiny parks you have in between suburbs and stuff like that really aren't maintained. They're just like mowed once in a while. But it's kind of interesting, isn't it, that a city like this out in Portland, middle of nowhere pretty much, has so many parks in the city.
Well, I think it's wonderful that those parks that aren't maintained, they get the goats that were in the Sound of Music, and the goats come and they eat all the grass, and those parks that aren't maintained actually are maintained by the goats. And the goats sing. High on a hill, where's the lonely goat herd? Lay, hee-hoo. So you know why I'm here. I mean, it's also for the goats.
Sure. Well, I haven't seen any goats yet. Maybe they are in the process of getting here. Maybe they're out by the lake or something, getting water before the actual tour here. It may be possible. Sometimes getting people out to mow the grass can be very hard to do, especially if it takes all day to mow one park. So one of the other questions I want to ask you is, because you've been doing this for so long, do you have any other life other than this?
Yes, I'm an interior designer. Okay. I've had my own business for 30 years now. And I have my dog Spencer, who I love. He's a yellow Labrador. He's 5. And I have 3 grandchildren and 2 daughters and 2 son-in-laws. So
interior designer. Do you do anything for anyone special? Anyone we know? I don't. Maybe if it's local to where you live, I don't know. Maybe I don't want to know who they are, but.
Well, I worked 8.5 years for Michael Jackson. He's black and he's a singer. You may have heard of him. Michael Jackson.
Back in my brain. Yeah, of course we know who Michael Jackson. That's interesting. I didn't know that. I knew you were a 3D designer, though. I did look it up. I'll admit, I knew that answer. I didn't know that Michael Jackson was the person that you worked with, though. And do you have other mainstream clients that we might know about then that you're able and willing to talk about?
Well, I did several homes for Robert Urich, which he's not with us anymore, but he was a wonderful, wonderful man, and working for him was great. It was not exactly like working for Michael Jackson.
Sure.
But it was a little more normal.
So we're wrapping up our time. What are our time? We're getting around 9 minutes or so, something like that? Okay, well, we can go as long as we really want to. This is a ad hoc show, so I can make it as long as I feel like it. I'm not going to make it a whole hour because that wouldn't be fair to you. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to ask you, have you ever done anything in television on the production side, not the talent side before?
No.
Is that your final answer?
Oh, wait. Yes, I have. Well, let's see. I was on an interview show. I can't remember what city I was in. And I said that I always wanted to be a weatherman because the weatherman can make all these mistakes and they never fire him. I mean, you can say it's going to rain and it doesn't rain and he never gets fired. And so the host said, do you want to do the weather? And I said, I'd love to do the weather. And all the cards run by so you can read what it is, and you stand in front of this screen and you look at a television and you point to the city. And I got to do all that, but that's not really production, is it?
Well, technically that's talent. Yeah, production is more like if you were a producer or a director of a show or sat behind a camera and filmed something.
No.
No, you haven't done it. So what we're going to do is, you're not going to see it in this episode, although I might run it in there, is we're going to let her do some filming a little bit later today, just so she can have something she can put her name behind it that she helped produce as a camera person. We'll put you as an assistant director, and that way you can have it, and then we'll actually roll into this program later. How's that? Does that sound good?
That sounds fabulous.
That's another win for the day. Yes! So one last thing before we wrap up. Is there anything you would like to say to the general public, which is pretty much most of the Portland metro area, that about inspirations or following your dreams or anything like that you might say to inspire those that might be watching this later on?
Well, absolutely. How much time do we have? I need about 45 minutes.
If you want 45 minutes, I'll give you 45 minutes. I would strongly urge you
To keep it short?
whatever time you feel is appropriate to do that.
Okay, I just want to tell the audience, you can do anything you want to do as long as you realize that you can do anything you want to do. And you tell your brain that.
She was pointing at me, or was she pointing at her brain? This will be on Geraldo sometime later on down the road. Well, that reminds me again to remind folks out there to contact your local television or cable access station if you really want to get involved in television. Front of the camera, behind it, just want to help with the script, or if you're out there and you do theater, or you have plays, or if you compose music or whatever. Always looking for different people. My email address has been put out throughout the show. Feel free to send me an email and let me know that you're interested in participating. Or if you're out there and you want to help sponsor On the Fly TV, since it is an endeavor, of course, that we always use a little bit of help, please definitely let me know. Any last words you can make?
So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye.
I saw that coming. I opened the door. I was hoping she'd walk through it. Man, she went right through it like there's no tomorrow. Well, thank you very much, Charmian Carr. I appreciate it very much taking the time to talk with me today. And you have a fantastic day. You can hear my cell phone going off, which means I got to go. Not because of the phone. Thank you very much. I appreciate it again. And you have a great day.
Okay, thank you.